Story number 39, My Neighbor Tried to steal my hot spring and poisoned my garden. I recently bought a quiet property in the countryside. Modest house, lots of land, and best of all, a small natural hot spring in the backyard. A creek runs through the backyards in this area, and most neighbors use it for gardening or just to enjoy the peaceful atmosphere. I've got a small fruit and pepper garden that thrives thanks to the stream. Everything was perfect until my left side neighbor, who I'll call Lorna, made things a nightmare. When I bought the place, the previous owners warned me about her. Apparently, she had tried to sue them, claiming the land partially belonged to her. The case was thrown out, but the warning was clear. Keep your distance from her and her family. At first, I thought they were overreacting. Her kids came over with cookies when I moved in, and she accepted an invitation to a small backyard barbecue. But as soon as she stepped inside, she started listing strange rules she claimed everyone in the neighborhood followed, like how all children could play in the creek even in other people's yards, and how everyone was free to use anyone's hot spring. I found that especially odd since I was the only one with a hot spring. I told her I wasn't okay with that. She brushed me off and kept going. Later, I asked around and confirmed with other neighbors. These so-called rules were all in her head. A friendly guy next door named James warned me that Lorna had a habit of using threats and lawsuits to get what she wanted. She even once bankrupted a local restaurant with a sketchy lawsuit over an allergy incident. I decided from that moment on to keep my distance, but she didn't get the message. A week later, I came home to find her kids in my hot spring tub. It's outside but normally covered with a heavy lid. Somehow they'd gotten in. I told them to leave immediately, but they insisted. Their mom said it was okay. I explained it wasn't, and they finally left. I rushed out to get locks for my gates, and when I came back, Lorna was there yelling at me for kicking them out. I told her firmly that it was my property and I had security cameras. I didn't yet, but I ordered them that night. From that point, things escalated. She complained nonstop about my trees, my fence color, how I used the stream. Her kids kept jumping into my garden when I wasn't home. My poor pepper plants were getting crushed. I couldn't prove she was behind it, but it felt like she was encouraging them. Then it got worse. While I was away for a few days, I got an alert from my new cameras. Movement in the backyard. When I finally checked the footage, I was shocked. Lorna had hired a crew to install pipes from my hot spring into her yard. My jaw dropped. James tried to intervene, but they ignored him. I called the police and rushed home. By the time I got there, the crew was just finishing up. They claimed the homeowner had hired them. I told the police I was the homeowner, and I had no idea who they were. Lorna came out yelling that she had a contract with me, waving a paper that supposedly said I agreed to give her water for $2 a month. She wouldn't let me read it up close. The police said not to touch the pipes till it was sorted after they left. I ripped out the main pipe anyway. My lawyer later confirmed the contract was a forgery. My signature was fake, and we'd easily prove it. You'd think that would be the end, but it wasn't. Recently, I noticed my garden wilting at an unnatural rate. My healthy plants were dying fast. One day, I looked over the fence and saw Lorna slowly pouring something into the stream, some large jug filled with who knows what. The water that flows through my garden passes by her yard first. I have no idea what she used, maybe a herbicide or some chemical, but it's destroying my plants. I haven't touched any of the produce since. I don't want to get sick. I warned James and told him to let the neighbors know not to use the stream water until we knew it was safe. One of them has already started moving their garden away from the creek, just in case. Now I'm stuck. I'm keeping all the video footage, especially of her dumping that liquid. I'm not sure if it'll be enough for court, but I'm hoping it helps. I already have a lawyer, but I might still ask for extra opinions just to be safe. As for now, I spend time soaking in the hot spring loud enough that she can hear me talk about how peaceful it is, just to annoy her a little. Ethan offered to use a large drum in his garage to temporarily remove the water from the stream, and seeing your comments, I'm taking him up on his deal. All the neighbors down the street that I've talked to so far, 2 besides Ethan, agreed. One who has 2 sons said that they might block off the start of the stream. It is a small outlet of a moderately sized creek. It will probably be blocked off not that hard. Ethan said that he can probably get the drum in place by tonight, as his dad can help. Ethan also has a sweet dog and definitely wants to protect it. I am going to remove my plants from the soil nearby the stream. Also, for reference and size of the stream, it's about 1 to 2 feet across and truly just a stream. There's lots of obstacles and things that would probably filter out, but we definitely still have to be safe. I'll update later tonight or tomorrow. Big news. The nice neighbor's kids dammed up the stream at where it starts. It's a couple pieces of wood, a branch or two, and a lot of small rocks. There's still a tiny bit of water flowing, but it's absorbed by the soil higher up before the crazy neighbor. Ethan got the drum out, but we turned out not to need it. There's water still in the pools in his backyard. And we plan to do a water test. Apparently pH tests are sold in a store just 10 minutes away, so I will head there as soon as I finish this post. Ethan's getting the pH test and an oxygen level test, but I don't know how oxygen levels would play into it. I'll look at responses and figure out what to do next. I will call authorities soon. The water test, pH came lower than the creek water before the crazy neighbor's house, a full 0.9 lower. Nitrate's a bit higher, dissolved oxygen significantly lower. That's the only real changes in between the two tests. I wonder if she just poured a lot of vinegar. I think herbicides do change pH, but 0.9 is quite a bit, I think. Big update. The makeshift dam broke and water has been flowing down, but it's been slow. The crazy neighbor complained to a neighbor up the street that she's on speaking terms with about me being a major asshole for not letting her kids use my hot spring tub. She let it slip that she poured household vinegar in the stream as justice. The neighbor was also shown the contract for the pipes, and she said that she didn't even have it signed by me. She and her lawyer had signed it, but without any signature space for me. I thought that she forged my signature, but she didn't have any agreement, fraudulent or otherwise, on my side whatsoever. The neighbor similarly dislikes her, but their kids are friends, so she has to talk to the crazy neighbor. I sent all the info to a local environmental charity that has contacts within environmental protection agencies. They usually deal with lakes and dumping, so this was in what they deal with regularly. The police were outside the crazy neighbor's house a couple hours ago and took her to the station. She's back at her house now, yelling over the fence profanities while I'm having a coffee. I don't know if they arrested her and she paid bail or that she just was taken in for questioning or something. I know her brother-in-law works at the police station, but I wouldn't doubt that her family members have a strained relationship with her. I hope that she's stuck with a giant fine and/or jail time. Her lawyer still hasn't served me regarding the pipes, and my lawyer is saying that the crazy neighbor has no case whatsoever. I'll update as soon as anything interesting comes up. My power just went out in most of my house. I think she just flipped the breakers to annoy me. Going outside ASAP, she indeed did flip the breakers. As far as I know, the security camera has an internal battery for some time after it's disconnected from the power, so I don't have to worry about her doing anything. I called the owner of the copy print delivery shop, and he agreed to what I said in the previous post. I removed all of the pipes from my yard and put them into bags. I didn't have as much plastic bags and boxes as I thought, so I'm paying extra for the owner of the copy shop to supply them. He just delivered the first one to her. I watched from the street, and her husband answered. He shouted for her, and she came up. I didn't hear any of the discussion, but she signed delivery sheet, took the package of a single small corner pipe piece, and stormed into her house. She went up to the second-story window and proceeded to glare at me, since still glaring as I sit on my couch while writing this. Working from home will be so nice for watching this. Since my last post, there has been one more pipe delivery to her, and she is pissed. She stormed over to my house after signing the delivery, which I thought she would stop doing, and banged on the door. I started recording my front door and opened the door. I'm not dumb enough to let her in. She starts shrieking about how I'm awful and that I had to keep the pipes installed as it was her property and that we had a contract. When I told her that the contract wasn't legal at all, she starts screaming at me. I stepped inside for a second and called the police with the door closed. She continues banging on my door. I don't open until a police car comes down the street. I tell the police that I don't want her ever to be on my property and that she is trespassing. They relay that to her, and she takes up a Hurt Old Lady Act. For reference, she is in her 40s. She tells them that my hot tub burned her youngest child and that I was luring kids in. I showed the police the camera footage, and they asked her to come to the station with them. I'm assuming that she made some fake report, but I guess that will be another charge of lying to a police officer. I think that the officer, not her brother-in-law, believed me and saw that she was in fact the crazy neighbor. I saw her get back into her house and once again went up to the top window, staring. I closed the blinds. I thought she would stop. Honestly, it doesn't bother me, but to my surprise, she crosses the street to the side of the hill. There's a slope on the other side of the street from the houses. There's more houses up the slope. and stares through my front window. I don't have blinds for that one and was about to head to a different room when I see her trip backwards. There's a small ditch for runoff and land on her butt. She lets out an ungodly shriek. It wasn't that loud, but I like to say it was, as she storms back into her house. I feel at this point, with all of the stuff from my lawyer, from Reddit, and neighbors saying that I am completely in the right and that she is insane, has made this more into entertainment than a scary situation for me. I have multiple locks arriving in a couple days and a new security camera for the side yard. If you have any legal suggestions, please tell me. If there's anything I should be aware of, please tell me. I've been told that messing with her is probably not going to help out legally, especially with a restraining order. So I just told the copy shop owner to deliver it all at once. I don't know if that's happened yet, but I'm fine not being looking when it happens. I will file a restraining order today. I don't know how it works, but I hope I can complete it today. No new news from her except Ethan saying that she looked really mad. I know this isn't a big update, but it's an update on the situation. This happened last night and I was too tired to update after it. Her husband, I'll call him neighbor husband, knocked on my door last night alone. She wasn't there, so I answered it. He then tells me that she is going through some things right now and some other stuff. He then asks me if I could let sleeping dogs lie. She did some stuff wrong, but she's a really great person. I told him that I would consider it. I'm not, but I didn't want to be in that conversation. I honestly thought that he would apologize about it. But making excuses like that is so pathetic. According to many of my neighbors, she's been like this for years. I think he's trying to cover themselves from the bomb they just planted. That's all. New updates probably coming soon. I was typing this out earlier, but it didn't save as a draft, so I will paraphrase it. Instead of writing it all out like earlier, I went out to get my mail and I noticed her rush out of her house onto her porch to watch me. I take the mail and head inside. Through the endless sea of junk mail, there was a wedding invitation. Nobody I know remotely nearby is getting married, and I didn't recognize the names or the faces. On the back was a handwritten letter thanking me for volunteering my house for the bachelorette party and inviting me to a wedding at a local venue. Definitely did not invite anyone to use my property for a party. My backyard isn't the biggest for a party. I don't know who these people are. I took a picture of the front and the back and then went and made a copy of the invitation and cut it to the right size. I then took the copy and walked in front of her house in the street. She is looking from the door. I then light the copy on fire safely. She runs out and starts yelling at me. I am not entirely listening, as I had an earbud in my left ear listening to a podcast. I listened to podcasts while doing my routines and hadn't bothered to take it out. And at one point, I heard the groom's name. Clearly, she was behind it. I knew before. This just solidified the fact. I called her husband and told him that I was not hosting the bachelorette party and to leave me alone. He asked which one. I told him the names of the bride and groom. He is audibly surprised. He then tells me that the groom is her son from a teenage pregnancy, not with him. He then said that he would talk to her about it, calling it an accident. I find the name of the dad of the groom and call him. He sounded super genuinely grateful when I told him who I was, and I asked him about her, and he said that she had left the baby with him, and when he had sued for child support, the judge said that it was his poor choices that led to the baby, and he was responsible for it without child support. I told him the situation, and he sounded defeated. Apparently, the groom had been quick to forgive his absent mother and had invited her against the dad's wishes. He said that he would tell the groom and the bride about the situation. I then had a thought that would be the absolute perfect revenge. I offered to host the party for free with 2 rules. They don't damage anything and clean everything up. She is blocked at the door of the wedding, despite her invitation. My invite to the wedding still stands. He said he would discuss it with the bride and groom. Even if he says no, it's worth a try. Just some clarification that hasn't come up yet, but is worth mentioning. The wedding is happening on the 24th. I'm pretty sure the invite I got was a spare for later. I doubt they sent invites, so last minute. The crazy neighbor reached out to the groom when she heard he was getting married. The groom is in his 20s and, as far as I know, has never met his biological mom before. Later on, I'll refer to the groom's dad as he, and the groom and bride by their titles for simplicity. Before posting, I read some comments and realized I don't want to get screwed over, so I'm stepping back a bit. Last night, the groom's dad called me very late and told me that the groom wants to meet his mom, the crazy neighbor, at the wedding. The bride is supportive of this, thinking it would be a wholesome moment. The groom's dad said he would try to find another venue for the party, but it's difficult to find one at this late date since the bride has a large bridesmaids group. He's going to help the crazy neighbor prepare for the wedding at his son's request, even though he suspects it might be a disaster. Also, my plants near the stream look scorched like they've been through a fire. I'm talking about the plants right next to and around the stream, not the ones in my garden, Shoaipo. I think the next steps are going to be legal rather than petty. I'll keep you all updated. The crazy neighbor has been trying to get access to the hot spring ever since she first found out about it. She tried lawsuits, land disputes, and other legal or legally dubious ways. When she heard her son was getting married, she saw it as a chance to get access. She initially offered to use her house for the bridesmaid party for a fee, but the bride declined because her house wasn't suitable for a party. She couldn't find another venue, but still didn't want the crazy neighbor's house. Then the crazy neighbor told the bride and groom that she had a natural healing hot spring in her yard, and the bride agreed to use it. That's when she tried piping the hot spring water to her yard out into Istao, which didn't get far thanks to me dismantling the pipes. After that, she offered my house and backyard for the party. I think the stream poisoning was her way of lashing out before she offered my house. No new updates beyond what I pieced together from various sources. Later, the groom's dad called me again. He met with the crazy neighbor to talk wedding boundaries. He went to her house with his phone recording just in case. He talked formally, laying out facts. While glancing through a cracked bedroom door, he saw multiple white dresses on her bed. They were fancy dresses, not quite wedding dresses, but close. He couldn't stop staring. He asked her what she planned to wear to the wedding, and she said she had a couple dresses picked out. He connected the dots and subtly ended the conversation. He called the bride and groom to tell them what he saw and gave the groom some of the crazy neighbor's history. The bride then asked if the party could be held at the house, the hot spring instead, and the groom's dad told me he knows I don't like the crazy neighbor and that I wouldn't be at the wedding, but the rest of the deal would stand. I said yes, but asked him not to tell the crazy neighbor so she would think I was pressured into hosting. I know the agencies I contacted about the vinegar poisoning are investigating, so even though it probably won't amount to anything, I hope something falls apart on the wedding day. Since then, there hasn't been much crazy neighbor activity. I think she installed a step stool on her side of the fence because she's been evil-eyeing me when I'm in the hot tub. The wedding is next weekend, so I'm curious what will happen. That's about it. I was dared to skinny dip in the hot spring, but no way. I'm not comfortable enough for her to see me, even for revenge. But I know some people who are. This happened yesterday around 1 p.m. I told some friends who were confident in their bodies that they could hang out in the hot tub while I was away and do whatever they wanted. I gave a quick backstory about the neighbor. They happily agreed and came around 1. I left for a long lunch and told them to call me if anything happened. I turned off the back security camera so it wouldn't be weird. Less than 30 minutes later, the cops called me asking if I was okay with people in my backyard. The crazy neighbor had called for trespassing, hypocrite. And the cops came to talk to my friends. They had my number and called me. I confirmed I invited them, and the cops left. Then the police were called again for my friends exposing themselves to children. The police knew it was private property, but came anyway and left quickly. Probably the same officers. That's all. I'm not planning to do anything else until the wedding. Thanks for all the insane comments. Just recently, my neighbor 2 houses down asked if I would allow the stream to be altered on my property. Ethan already said yes. A landscaping company will install limestone along the creek to neutralize acidity or something similar. The neighbor has a garden like mine and probably wants to protect it. Hopefully this can prevent future acid attacks.